Hey, what is up, Patreon? It's Rich. All right, this is going to be fun. This is Super Fun Friday. I was looking through my external hard drives for some stuff, and I hit on some comicsology files that I had, and I thought this was, when I opened it, I thought it was actually going to be like old school Captain America, like, just vintage Marvel, whoever the penciler might be. And it ended up being this. And I looked at a couple of pages and I was like, dude, I have to do a video of this. But I wasn't sure. I didn't want to do it as a regular YouTube video because I think it will create too much heat for Liefeld. Unnecessarily. And I mean, I'm working with Dan Fraga now, who's friends with Rob, and I'm not doing this to offend anyone, but I think that this will be a very fun book to look at, and we can laugh at the sort of silliness of it, and actually break down some of the better stuff that he did. So a little background on this book, as far as I remember it. At this point, when Rob did this comic book, he had not drawn comics in a while. He had taken a break, and this was sort of his comeback. This is how I remember it. Now, he may have had a slight pulse. And then I think Jim Lee did Fantastic Four, Wills did Iron Man, and there may have been even another book that Marvel gave someone. I can't remember. I didn't really care, and none of them I thought were that interesting, honestly. So it's nothing that I really even go back and look at to this day. They're not horrible, but I mean, it was like, I don't know. It's kind of it was a weird time in comics because the bottom had fallen out of the whole image boom, and the sales were still good, but it was just kind of like you could see that the magic was sort of fading, and I think a lot of these guys had kind of gassed themselves out between like 90 and 95, and they were kind of burnt, and also their bank accounts were full, so they didn't have a lot of incentive to work probably as hard as they could. But so anyway, we'll go through this. I think it'll be fun and funny. This is not a horrible cover, all things considered. I think it's a dynamic pose of him. It's a little stiff. Rob tends to, for whatever reason, the heads never look like they're on the bodies. Like if you remove this head, the body itself is not bad. I think the head is just a little small. We can do we'll do a test, but I think it's just a little dinky. I'm on my Wacom tablet, so I don't have the super edging, but honestly, what I'm saying is, like, I think it went a little big. That looks a little better. It's also because it's a straight on shot. He's turned pretty heavily, and you're not really getting the indication that he's turning his head, or you know what I mean, like that the neck and stuff is involved in that pose. But this is a nice foreshortened leg. This is cool. So anyway, he's got his shield at a neat angle, and all right, let's go. There's going to be some funny drawings, and if I remember correctly, there's actually some weird inconsistencies, like pouches vanishing and reappearing. It's some pretty funny stuff. So, page 1. It's pretty simple. I mean, there's not a lot of detail in the planes. The tank is super, like, just the bare minimum of what he needed to draw to get the tank drawn. And this is funky. Again, it's that head kind of like not fully attached to the body. It's just the head is way too far back for the pose. This isn't terrible. The guns are just like non-existent. Like, I don't even know what that is. So, okay. Interesting. It actually, oh, here we go. So this is page, oh, hold on. I want to make sure I go in order. This is page 2. So let's see here. So we have to pay close attention to the inconsistencies, because that's part of the fun of this book. This is not a bad first page. I mean, Cap's face is a little weird. I think, so what would make this face better? I don't think that the nose necessarily needs to be so much of an upshot. That would actually help the face a lot. I think that the nose isn't relating to the face. That's it. This looks like a head that's turned like 10 degrees more up. Like the chin would be out and the eyes would be back. But other than that, it's not too bad. Colors are real good. The inks are great. Jonathan Sebald did a really fantastic job on this. It looks really, really nice. The inks are really perfect, actually. So let's see. We'll show this. Go to the next page. And that, I mean, honestly looks like the same exact shot. So he's holding with the left hand. This works a little tiny bit better because his chin is jutting out more. Do you see there's a subtle difference between this face? It's like this is becoming more broad, and so the nose works better. Also, I think the distances, the proportions are better. Like the eyes are a little brought in, the ears are kind of dropping a little bit. So this is actually a better drawing than that last one. And again, the inks are fantastic. He's great. He really did a nice job on this. They're pretty much perfect inks. Sabal was really good at this point. I remember seeing a sample page that he had done that a friend of mine had before I broke in, and we were all like going like, oh my god, look at like how he inked this moon. So he had a lot of control. This is not bad. It's a nice shot. I don't see anything too crazy. Oh, Image Comics, look at that. That's wild. It's like, looks like he's got like alien spores in his body. Yeah, overall it's okay. I don't know why it's so dark right there. A little unnecessary. I guess it's like, sometimes, well, and this is what happens. I've talked about this before, but as an inker, all ink pencils, and there's, you know, like a subtle indicated lighting effect, not necessarily like this, but and sometimes if the colorist doesn't follow the cues, like the colorist is lighting everything, well, there's a light coming from above that's hitting these planes. You see how this is like a light kind of beige, then you've got the core color of his body, but then there's blue light coming from below, but he's not consistent with the blue light coming from below, because the bottom of the nose would be hit with the blue, under here would be hit with the blue. It's like there's colorists that don't follow their own language, and then what ends up happening is the line art looks incorrect because the colors are incorrect, because the colors sometimes for whatever reason seem to sort of dominate your eye view. It's a weird thing, but I always call it leaving my ass hanging, because it's like, yeah, bad colors will make it look like you did something weird, and then if you really look, it's just the colors don't make any sense. Well, I almost knocked over my pencil sharpener. To the sorry, I've got a pencil sharpener fall. I just don't want all the pencil lead to fall out. It's funny, I've been penciling a lot, and I prefer traditional pencil right now. I've been using different, like 3B, 6B, it depends on the brand, and 1,3H, but mostly like real soft like B leads, and I like it a lot. This is crazy foreshortening, but it's fun. She's cute. The kid looks fine. I mean, we've seen worse kids in the comics. And one thing about Rob that I'm noticing right now, and we're just a few pages into this, his work is very consistent. That's a big, big deal for telling comic book stories. As much as you want to make fun of this guy, his faces are you know, unusual at times, but they're really consistent. That kid looks like that kid, you know? I mean, it's just, we saw with the, was it the Mark Bagley stuff? Like, his likenesses from panel to panel would really, really change depending on the shot he was doing. They could look quite different. So Liefeld's got a little bit more of a consistent look to his stuff. This is wacky. It looks like he's like jumping out of a plane or something. I guess he's walking? I have no idea what he's doing there. I mean, the jacket's fine. She looks attractive, you know. It's funny, he's kind of going for a Travis thing here. He needs to push that chin up. Gets a little weird here too. It's a tricky shot though. It's an up shot. I mean, things can go weird because you overthink it. Like, he's trying to do some sort of like foreshortened head here, and he just kind of got it backwards. but it's because of the, my guess is because of the shot that he chose. He tried to think about it too much, and then he ended up with this. This, I really don't understand what this pose is. He's not putting on his jacket, like, you know what I mean? Like, it's not a gesture like he's putting on his jacket. I guess he's just walking out of there. Yeah, I don't know. He looks like he's doing a robot dance. And this is nice, and this is good. Nothing much to say about this. Interiors of cars are always funky. I mean, there's definitely not enough space behind these guys to have a back seat. So I don't know if he's driving a truck. Like, that's the rear mirror window there. But, yeah. It is what it is. Dun, 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 dun. Oh, yeah, there's a scene at this table where something... I don't know why I remember this, but there's, like, something appears and disappears. We'll see if we can spot it. And look, honestly, like, as an inker and someone who inks pages, I'm not paying attention to what's on the tables, honestly, as weird as that sounds. Like, if the penciler screws up, there's a good chance that I won't catch it, because I don't always work in order either. So, like, say on a Monday I ink this page, but you can see stuff on the table. There's a plate of chili here. There's 2 cups with straws. There's 1 cup without a straw. If I ink the next page of this sequence like 2 days later, I don't care what's on the table. It's as bad as that sounds. I'm not going to go back and check what I did on Monday to see if the items are on the table. I'm just going to assume the penciler got it right. So I don't know if that's a shame on me for not caring, but okay, so let's see what we got here. I just remember something like appeared and disappeared. Maybe it wasn't the sequence. I think it's with Captain America by himself. I mean, this is not a bad page. And again, his stuff is really, really freaking consistent. That's an attractive small head. That is an attractive small head. Most people that are actually fair and critical of Liefeld stuff will at some point have some compliments for him, and this is all drawn really, really nicely. Like, you pull this out of a panel, this could just as easily be a Jim Lee drawing or a Silvestri drawing or whatever. There's nothing wrong with this. There's nothing wrong with this. This is just a decent comic book panel. This gets a little weirder. This isn't so bad. This is decent. This is really nice, actually. His faces get a little weird when he does his profile, but, you know, it happens. He's just got a different way he sets it up, and it doesn't land the jump effectively. So this is decent. It's a lot of dead space on the page, but, I mean, overall, face loses a little bit of the sort of structure. It's a little drifty, but not too bad. Okay. See? I'm not a hater. Okay, so let's see. His teeth always get wild, but, I mean, it's there. The inks are, man, Sabal was really, really accurate. It's got a little bit of like a Bat vibe to me, just a tiny bit. He doesn't really ink like Bat. It's a little more liney, but Bat can do stuff like this where it's really, really like accurate. It's kind of interesting. It's kind of cool. This is not so bad. This pose is a little weird, like the foreshortening. I mean, the knees are very, very pointy. The boots are at an interesting angle. This isn't so easy to do. I mean, it's like, that's a little bit of a perspective problem for some people. And shield. And there may be things that you're catching with these drawings that I'm not seeing too, because when I'm shooting the video, sometimes I'll get focused on something. But, you know, overall, it's not bad. It's a little bit of a weird pose. I think, honestly, the pointiness of it is probably what hurts it. If this was a more slightly just rounded off, this isn't so bad. And then the pointy toes. One thing I'll give credit to Liefeld for, he almost loses it here, though, is that this foot at least looks like this foot. I'm telling you, really, really good pencilers will screw up the arch on the foot, especially the exterior one where there's the slight indent. It's really annoying to me when I see people draw this foot, but it looks like this foot. This one is starting to do it a little bit, but it's not too bad. He just needs to mellow that out a little bit. But yeah, it's like not a major pet peeve for me, but it's definitely something that I'll spot with artists. This is nice. It's cool. Like you know, and I'll credit him to this too. Nobody really gives a shit about these pages, so it's like just get through them. He could have maybe used the space a little bit better, but I don't need to spend more time on this page as the reader. He doesn't need to spend more time on this page as the artist. I would rather see him draw more comics and more splash pages and more interesting stuff. This tells the story fine. He was reacting to something on the TV. He turns it off, and then he's like, all right, I got to get involved in this. I get it. You know, there's plenty of information there. So, and this is nice. This isn't as funny of a comic book as I thought it was going to be. I mean, you could argue that this is stronger than some of the Mark Bagley books, although Liefeld will, I'm sure, tip the apple cart at some points. But this is a really, really nice panel. This is pretty good. I mean, there's nothing wrong with it. I think some of this like lighting effect is not being probably represented as good as it could be. And it switches here, which makes it look weird. Because there's... what he's trying to indicate, if you just look at the line work, is that there's a light source coming from over here, but the colorist didn't really do it as much as they could. It's like he lit all of this and all of this, but it doesn't affect the hair. It's this inconsistent lighting really can get weird, because this knee is sticking out further than this, so why has this got that weird pinkish color, but nothing over here does? It throws your eye off. I mean, it really does. And it just makes, like, I can sense that something is incorrect with this drawing. And if I think of it in black and white, I think it would look better. This foot is drifting towards that thing I was just talking about. You see the arch here? The outside of your foot doesn't arch that much. It curves more this way. And this is okay. It's like, fine. All right, what do we got? Uh-oh. And again, super duper consistent. This guy's arm is huge, but it's cool. The only problem with this, honestly, is the height. Do you see like where knee level is with this? This guy would be really, really short. So he didn't use the space effectively here, because although I like how this guy is drawn, it gets a little weird here. His arm is so huge that the head would be like it's not sitting completely comfortable, but this is way too short. If anything, I mean, one way to fix it would be this. Let's pull this off here. This won't be seamless, but you'll kind of get the point. Is, whoa. Their knees would need to be at the same height. You know? It would be something more along the lines of that. See, you're getting some edumacation with this. That would be the fix, the easiest fix. Because this would never work. This is cool, it's a nice shot. This is clever with the leg poking in and them sort of talking smack to her or whatever they're saying. And again, hyper consistent. This looks like her. That's hard to do. Not hard to do, but this is your job as a penciler. And these guys look consistent. You know? Even a broken clock is right twice a day. No, just kidding. So this is a fun Friday, right? This is something different. This is good too. Wow, this is a lot better than I thought it was going to be. I'm thinking that the big chest... I don't think the big chest Captain America is in this issue. But, Their heights look a little more effective here, and like this too. Do you see like their knees are at the same level, eye level, or not eye level, but like, you know. Oh. And this is a nice use of space. I mean, it's a pretty detailed page, all things considered. And again, this guy's a master of the 3-panel page. This amount of space is a little weird. I think this is really nice establishing shot. This is cool. I'm not 100% convinced that this was the right angle for this next panel. It's a little jerky how it goes from this shot to this. Like, the camera really turned weird. I don't know if I can just rotate it and it'll come up with something better. Let's just see really quick. It may not, but like it might just look weird, but let's see something. Actually, I don't need that much of that. I think kind of maybe a shot like that would have been a little better. It just reads a little more comfortable to my eye. It's not like the perfect fix for it, but it just turns the camera too much. Like, it feels like he's gonna fall out. So I think this, at least, it still sends you the same direction, and it's a little more of a powerful shot. If anything, he could even be turned a little more. This is important stuff, though, to be able to see and maybe come up with conclusions of your own for, though. I mean, that's even better, and you could even make him a little bigger. Well, no. I like the size of his. But something like that, maybe. Anyway, that's just, you know, what do they call it? Armchair quarterback. All right, can you let go of this, please? This is ending up being a little more interesting than I thought. I thought it would just all be funny. That's cool. It's a very stiff swastika, as funny as that sounds. But yeah, my criticism for this would be is, like, he would have probably benefited from using reference and got the, I don't know, like the width of it kind of more accurate. It looks weird to me. It just doesn't look right. This is pretty, you know, there's not a lot going on with this, like, throne. He could have maybe made it a little more badass. The tapestry thing here is nice. I don't know, is that a trash can? I'm assuming it's, like, supposed to be, like, Greek, like, marble or something. That looks like a trash can sitting there. That'd be funny. And then these are kind of, like, I don't know. The design's kind of weak. The boots are just non-existent, really. The shoulder pads are cool. I think this could have been cooler looking. Like, it's not the greatest choice to just have 2 Nazi signs here. I think a symbol would have actually been creepier. Like the skull, honestly, or something. Yeah, that just looks too weird. This is pretty intense, even though it's kind of funny, too. His head is just very broad. Is it this guy? I guess it is this guy. He kind of lost it here. Like, this guy's face looks a little too wide. Wait, is this? Yeah, I guess this is him. Yeah, this isn't a great shot of him. This is okay. This is alright. It's a tough thing, having the guy come up the stairs. This helps convince me that they're stairs, because if you didn't have this, it would look weird a little bit, I think, just having the lines. And then this is so. It's a little, like, this doesn't really make any sense with the... I get what he's going for, but maybe those could have been more well thought out. That could have been the inker too, though, because I know even for me, sometimes, like, going back in and having to draw that stuff over someone's pencils can be tricky. This is nice. It's a little stiff, but it works. He's real solid. It's funny because he's got little parts of his drawings that are real solid. Like, this is a nice well, I mean, the whole from here up is actually a real solid figure, and this isn't bad either, but his stuff gets a little pointy. There's something weird that happens. There's a little too much length right here in the leg. Like, it just needs to be watched. If it was pushed up just the tiniest bit, it would look, I think, better. It, like, drops. It's a weird thing. Like, and then watch when you see it. You see how there's, like, that weird, like, it's, like, stretches out? it's just there's like this weird length right here. But a lot of artists have little anomalies like that. They kind of make up their style. Those are like the little nuances that make you you. This is okay. This face gets a little silly, but I mean it is his thing. This is cool. I don't dislike this page, but I think that just like it's getting like pretty linear, like lots of lines that are all very kind of brittle. Interesting. It reminds me of Travis Wildcats issue 16. That was the one. There was one guy in the book that kind of had this sort of vibe. That's fine. It's, you know, this gets a little stiff, but it's you know, and the colors are actually kind of cool on this. Like I actually think they look kind of nice. Some nice stuff going on. Rockets, nukes. They're nukes, nuke rockets. The worst kind of rockets ever. His gun's funny. So, I mean, guns in the right hand, guns in the left hand. Not a huge deal. He might have done something in between panels, but it did switch. Am I right? Yeah, it's left hand, right hand. Yeah. I wasn't even looking for it, but it just occurred to me that I was like, oh yeah, I should be checking for inconsistencies. Suddenly. I actually think that this little area right here is pretty nice. Like, this is pretty decent. It gets a little more questionable here. It's still, you know, look, at the end of the day, does anyone really care about the buildings that you draw? I think we all appreciate someone that can draw nice buildings, although nowadays, I was looking at the new Daredevil stuff, and the guy is really, really good that does the book. There's no two ways about it, but all of his buildings are 3D models. So it's like, I mean, I don't know how much credit can you give for that? I actually did a version of this video when I stopped at about 5 minutes in, because I was talking a little bit about people using digital stuff, and it's like, there's more stuff on the page, but you didn't draw it, so I don't know, you know what I mean? Like, it raises the bar in terms of, like, if people want to do work, and it's like, well, Daredevil needs a lot of buildings. It's like, yeah, but I actually draw the pages. I'm not just dropping in Google SketchUp models and 3D models as a background. But again, the artist that's working on Daredevil right now, or I think it's right now, recently, he's really, really good. I can't think of his name off the top of my head, but yeah, I mean the pages are phenomenal, but it's difficult to tell what and he's penciling and inking himself too, which is nuts. It's got to all be digital for sure. I prefer drawn comics. I think at the end of the day, I mean, I think that I don't dislike the Daredevil book, but as an artist, I would actually prefer to see him just draw the book and have less detail. It'll be interesting to see how the next 5 to 10 years evolves with that. Will there eventually be a renaissance of people going like, yeah, but this guy actually draws the pages? Like, that ends up being the cool thing, you know, where right now I think artists are just looking for fast ways to get stuff done, or the most effective way to get things done. But I kind of think that the artistry involved in actually drawing the pages will still be more valued. What happened here? What in the world? Why is he so small and he's so tall? What happened, guys? Wow, that's really wild. I mean, he could still be shorter than Cap, but maybe a little bigger? I don't know. I'm thinking like That would be good. I still get it. Cap is big and this guy's small. Oh, Rob, you silly, silly person, you. This is nice. I like this shot. This is a cool page. Again, you know, I guess one of my complaints with Rob's stuff is sometimes his use of negative space is too negative. Like, there's just too much blankness here. Now, I don't know if maybe this was actually rendered. Like, there could have been, in the original drawing, some cross-hatching and stuff like there that filled the space a little more comfortably. But the knockout, although, I mean, we're still getting something there. Yeah, there just feels like there's uncomfortable gaps. I mean, it could be this huge sound effect, too. The page itself is nice. I actually do like the colors on it. I'm not a gigantic fan of knockouts over line art. This is okay. Again, his use of space, it could be just more... like on this, everything is kind of the same size. I think if you just made this dude bigger, it would help it. I mean, he's breaking the panel. You might as well at that point just like, and then rearrange these guys a little bit, but you might as well have him kind of a bigger size. I think it would just make it a little more exciting, and then this would be smaller, but you know what I mean? You kind of move stuff around a little bit and just kind of make room to accommodate that. It's cool. It's decent shield. I think the star has been kind of fluctuating in its size, but maybe it's different shields. You know, it is what it is. I'm not sure why he does these heavy... let's see, I'm going to try to grab the clone stamp really quick. I think it's in here. Yeah, I'm going to try this. Will it do it? I know it won't be seamless, but I think his faces would look better if it didn't have the that chiseled the black on it. Makes it look weird to me a little bit. Like, you see how that it kind of makes him look like the Joker, because I didn't remove it all, but you kind of get the idea of what I'm saying. Is like, I mean, you could have a little bit of a shadow there, but I think that kind of looks more attractive done cleanly. Little lens flares are fun. I think that's nice. This is actually some really cool coloring on the shield. I mean, I would, like, if a colorist colored a shield that I drew and had, like, this kind of stuff on it, I would actually be for it. I think that kind of stuff is fun. And it's, you know, it's like, it's comics. It should be exciting. Don't need all monochrome all the time or some sort of gritty noir looking stuff. I mean, you know, there's room for all of it in your stories. Okay, so then this is the spread now. There is a chance that Rob used an assistant for the backgrounds. Does it matter? I mean, I don't know. Does it matter if someone throws 3D models in the background? I mean, I think I'd rather still see someone draw it than just have a 3D model thrown in. Even if you make the 3D model yourself, I think it's still, like, it just doesn't seem as fun. But there is a chance that someone drew that background for him. But this is all cool. These guns are so funny. They're like, they look like small guitar cases. With some extra fancies. But that's low-hanging fruit if you're going to make fun of Liefeld's guns. Pouches. The guy's got a lot of pouches. I'm always, you know, what's interesting is because, honestly, pouches are something that as comic book artists we need to think of. And I'm of the mindset to sort of try to create a functionality now for what's in the pouches. Like, I would like to imagine what I have in my character's pouches, because why not, you know? And it's very easy to just go, well, Mignola uses these pouches, so I'm going to use these. Or Liefeld uses these pouches, so I'm going to use these. Or when Jim Lee draws Batman, he does these pouches. And you sort of just peg in someone else's pouches. But you know, if you're good enough to draw a page, I think you're good enough to make up your own pouches. It's just my own opinion on things. So yeah, try to come up with some unique pouches. You know, they might not be 100% original, but you know, think of some straps and how it would go together, and have some fun with your pouches. That's the moral of today's story. Enjoy your pouches. Enjoy your fictional gun creation. This is nice. I really like Jonathan Sabal's inks on this. This is very, very nicely done. You can see that there's little line weights. You see how that line right there is a little heavier? You can see it even from far away. These little, like, thicker line there, it's really, really beautiful. This is good. This is all good. This is nice. Look at this. The arm gets a little weird right here, but this is really well done, and he's got the hand turned back. I don't know if like the hand would necessarily want to do that in this pose, but it's still pretty decent, and this is okay. And again, I just don't think he needs this. And this probably won't go away as easily. It's just a little too much. The problem with this face, too, is this. The distances are fucked up. Messed up, sorry. It's just the proportions were weird. He needs a, like, smaller gap there. But that, to me, looks better than the original face. That just looks weird. He looks like a monster or something. You know, they're little fixes, but it's like, you know, and it's easier said than done. I mean, I'm working over someone that spent time creating a drawing. This is nice. I actually like this. He got real hairy here. Was he that hairy on the other pages? Like his arms and stuff, he's got like arm hair up here. I know some of it's rendering, but that's definitely hair. What happened, Cap? You get angry? You turn feral? See, now the hair's gone. Oh, well, hold on. That's a different page, but... Yeah, see, what in the world? That's weird. Still got arm hair here, but... Oh, hey, here's a little wolvie, like... Smooth arms here. I would just leave Captain America with no arm hair, personally, or very, very little right here. I wouldn't have even put that much. He's a blonde. It would. You don't need to draw it. That's just busy work. This is cool. This pose is a little stiff. It's a hard shot. This is all cool, though. This is nice. This works a little better for me. I don't know what he also has a tendency to delineate the whole nose. Do you see that? And it can... Sometimes I think if he drew a little less of the nose, it would look better. But again, that's personal preference. Liefeld's sold millions and millions of comics, so who am I to argue? Again, the use of space is a little interesting. Well, there was not as much funny stuff in this book as I thought that there was going to be. Too pointy. Too pointy. Very consistent, though. God dang, does this guy draw consistently. There's just no doubt when you see the characters who it was in the story. This is a little weird, but yeah, it's you know, it's an interesting thing. That is wild. He's super mad there. He's got that alien sort of bubbling egg membrane thing going on. Hello, Missy. What's your time? Look at him. Who is this dude? He's heavy set. Not that there's anything wrong with that. I need to lose a little weight myself. I would probably look quite similar to this guy in this outfit. I'm a little thinner. I don't know. Is that a derby? And then he should. If you're gonna look like this, you have to talk different. he needs some sort of accent. This is way too straight of dialogue for the way that this guy looks. He needs some sort of like fancy accent with his word balloons. Oh, that's cool. That's actually pretty cool. Again, the nose, it's because he draws both sides of the nose and then this thing, but I mean, I'm telling you, like, this could go from whatever you want to call this on a scale from 1 to 10 to, oh, let me see if I can mellow it out. Let's see if I can do this. Whoa. It just looks better, you know? Like, it's still kind of all there, but... you know, tit for tat. That's kind of the same thing. I think it's this heavy line that he puts on the top of the nose really bugs me. I think that looks better. His jaw needs to be wider too. Like this. I don't know if I'll be able to pull this off. We'll see. I don't know if this will work or not. Oh, let me see. His lower jaw, yeah, that does look better. It's hard because you see that white there, but it gets real pointy right here. He needs this to come down a little or this to go up. I think you could actually do it this way too. Let's see if this works. I think even that would look better. It's just, it's that lower jaw is sitting so far out. I need to just isolate the jaw. I can pull this in. There. That. There's too many things going on. There's a distance issue with the eyes and the mouth for the shot. All of this stuff would start to come down because the head is looking down, so this would be closer to the eyes. He's sending you mixed signals. That's where things become problematic. This is kind of a straight on shot. The nose is dropping, but the mouth didn't. This would all get closer together. Let's see if I can. I'll see if I can kind of manipulate it. I don't know if it'll work or not, because those white gaps make it. See, it needs to be kind of more like that. If you just focus on this, is the eyes start to get closer to the nose, the mouth gets closer to the nose, because everything is being shrunk down. If you had, I can do it with the pencil tool in red. I'll show you what I mean. It was actually, they used this example. I'll do a simple version of it, but if a face, I'm going to say that this is a head. If a face straight on has your eyes, your nose, and your mouth are like this, once you start to turn it down into space, all these lines are going to get closer together. This will hopefully kind of give an example of it. You see how the distances now have changed? The eyes dropped. All this stuff has slowly gotten kind of closer together. You see how the vibe is different? that's why this fix on the face with the eyes further down works, because really what he's showing you is he's showing you a down shot of a face with, watch when you look at it. You see, this is a front on view, but he's sort of, I don't know, is he looking down? Because the nose is dropped so low, it gives the impression that he's looking down, but the eyes aren't telling the same story because of where they're at. So there's too much space between here and here and here and here. All right, this is the last page. Boom, shakalaka boom. Liefeld. It was pretty good. It was better than I thought. I thought it was going to be more funny. This is so, like, 80s Marvel. Man, so many people drew stuff that looked like this in the 80s and 90s. All right, you have a great day. Hopefully that was fun, and I think there was some decent educational value with it, and yeah, we didn't get the wacky chest drawing. I don't know how that ever slipped through the cracks, but somehow it did. Maybe in pencils it wasn't as noticeable. All right, I'll talk to you guys later. Bye.